Okay, you see a worksheet here. I did not provide it. Don't worry about all that. Just simply copy, worksheet A, right? Do this in your notebooks, manually copy it. Worksheet A, trigonometric ratios. We're going to look at sine, cosine, tangents. Here are the notes. So I'm going to go ahead and or actually you go ahead and pause it right now. Pause it so you can copy this, copy the directions here, and copy this triangle and the numbers and everything. Pause the video now, copy all this, and when you're ready to start number one, push play again, and we'll start working these out and finding these ratios. Okay, push pause. Okay, hopefully you copied it now. Here we go. All right, I have it nice and neat here. I'm sure you drew it just as good. All right, so what are you gonna do? You have all three sides. That is very important first to make sure you have all three sides for a right triangle. And the very first thing you're going to do is label the sides, right? We have to label the hypotenuse side, the opposite, and the adjacent side. Remember, we gotta label the H, right? You gotta label the sides. You gotta label the sides first. Which sides? Well, start with the hypotenuse side. First one you're going to identify as a hypotenuse side. That's this one over here, right? That's your H. Here's my H. After the hypotenuse, you label the... All right, remember, we put them in this order. Label the sides first. In this order, first the H for the hypotenuse, then the O for the opposite, and then the A for the adjacent. In this order. First the hypotenuse, then the opposite, then the adjacent. So we did the hypotenuse. Now what? The opposite. Opposite of what? You have to have an angle that you're looking at. I'm looking at this angle, so opposite of this angle, or the opposite side in this case is going to be this one here, the 9. And then that last one is what? You already used up these two sides. That's the hypotenuse, the opposite. So this last one will be your adjacent side. Okay. And from here, I mean, honestly, for this angle, whether it's just a little angle symbol there or if it's actually like 25 degrees or whatever, if they actually give you an angle measure, you'd still do it exactly the same. Here, you can find all three. You should be able to find sine of the angle. You should be able to find cosine. You should be able to find all three. You know what I mean? I know the question is just asking you for this one, but you actually should be able to find all three. I'm going to do that for this first one. Remember, for sine, you got to use what? So. And this one, you got to do ka. And then for tangent, toa. Right? Because the first letter, that so is for S, and the C is for cosine, and the T is for tangent. And if you got this from the first video, remember, so or sine is what? This is what? Sine of the angle is equal to O over H. This one's going to be what? Cosine of the angle is equal to A over H. Remember, the last two are the fractions, the numerator and the denominator. Numerator over the denominator. Numerator over the denominator. And tangent of the angle is what? Numerator over denominator, O over A. So you're going to have all the numbers. So we got all the values here. So what are you going to put for sine? Well, sine is going to be what? O, which is 9. 9 over what? Over 15? Yep. But see, you can reduce that. Always look to reduce. So actually, you're going to get sine is what? Well, reduced by 3, that'll be 3/5. And a over h for cosine is what? 12. 12 over 15. And again, that can be reduced also. So cosine would be what? Cosine would be, again, reduced by 3, 4 over 5. Now, again, I know they just want us to find sine, but I'm just showing you, you should be able to find all three. Okay, and then tangent, just to practice here, is O, which is 9, over A, which is 12. And again, always look to reduce. 9 over 12 you can reduce, so that means tangent would be, again, reduced by 3, it would be 3 over 4. And this is how you do the trig ratios. Okay, now hold on to the last couple of examples because now we're going to have some radicals, you know, some square roots and other things that are going to be not as simple as this first one. Okay, let me run through these then fairly quickly and just focus on the one that they're asking you to do. Okay, here's number 2. Pause it here, copy the problem. And when you're ready to move on, push play. Okay, for this one here, again, start with the hypotenuse side, which is the first one you want to identify. Don't get that one wrong. There's my h. Opposite is what? The side opposite of the angle. That's my opposite side, and the last one's A for adjacent. And here they're only asking you for cosine, so that would be what? Cosine, how do I find cosine? Well, remember, you got to use what? What's that acronym for cosine? Ca. C-A-H. So, ca, ca. C starts with a C. So, ca, toa. So it's this one, which is going to be what? The C is for the function. Cosine of the angle is equal to what? The last two are the numerator and the denominator. A over H. So for this one, you're going to get A, which is 8, over H, which is 17. That cannot be reduced, so that's the trig ratio for cosine, for this cosine function. Sometimes they call them trig functions. Same thing. Answer is 8 over 17 for cosine. Okay, number 3. Again, pause it. Copy it. When you're ready to move on, you move on. You push play and then we continue. Okay, hopefully you copied it. Here we go. So again, label the side. Start with the hypotenuse side. Don't mess it up. Again, they're going to rotate it. There's H right there. Hypotenuse. Opposite is the one opposite of the angle, so that's your O side. The last one is A, adjacent. Here they're only asking you to find tangent. Well, what's going to help me for tangent? For tangent is going to be SOHCAHTOA. Remember the acronym is SOHCAHTOA. So TOA is T-O-A. So T is for what? The function. Tangent of the angle is equal to, and the last two are for the ratio or the fraction, the numerator over the denominator. Ah, correct. There's T-O-A, TOA. And we have O to be 20 over A, which is 15. Well, 20 over 15 is correct, but it's not simplified, so you got to make sure you reduce. We can reduce by 5, right? So if we reduce by 5, we get tangent divided by 5 is 4, divided by 5 is 3. There's the ratio for tangent. Okay, stepping it up now. Now we're going to see the ones that have these radicals and some of these where you really got to fix the answer. So keep going on. There's a couple more. Okay, again, copy it, pause it here, copy it, and then I'm going to move on. Okay. So hopefully you labeled it. Here's, again, find the hypotenuse side. That's your H for hypotenuse. Look for the angle. Go opposite of it. That's your opposite side, and this is your adjacent side. Tangent. We just did tangent. What is it? Soka toa. Toa. So TOA. So that tells me that T is for the function, which is tangent is equal to, and the last two are for the fraction, the numerator and the denominator. Opposite over adjacent. Okay, opposite side is 14. We got 14 here over 8 root 2. All right, here's where it's going to get a little tough, guys. I have this. Tangent is equal to 14 over 8 root 2. First, reduce the whole numbers. You see, don't worry. We have to fix this as well. But first, look and see if you can reduce these. These reduce first. Reduce first. We have to fix this. We cannot have a square root or radical in the denominator. But reduce these first. So when I reduce that, that's going to give me tangent is equal to 7 over 4. 7 over 4 root 2. And we should have learned this in Algebra 2. You cannot have a fraction. You cannot have actually a radical, a square root or any kind of radical in the denominator. We have to fix this. Anybody remember how to fix that? Well, this is the way you do it. Whenever you have a radical, whatever this radical is, in the denominator. If it's in the numerator, it's fine. But in the denominator, if it's a square root of 2, you're going to multiply by another square root of 2 to the denominator and to the numerator. And what is that going to give you? Well, it's going to give you 7 times root 2. Well, 7, that's just going to be 7 root 2 here. And here, the 4 is outside, so that's 4. But the square root of 2 times another square root of 2, remember that's what? Oops, sorry. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is just a whole number 2. So that's 4 times 2. So your answer here is going to be what? The ratio. Your ratio for tangent is going to be in your numerator, 7 root 2 over, and then 4 times 2 is going to be 8. That's number 4. Okay, so that's what you got to fix when you have a situation like this. You cannot have your ratio or these fractions with a radical in the denominator. Okay, let's look at a couple more. Number 5. Again, pause it, copy the problem down, and then push play again. All right, let's go with this. Which one is the hypotenuse? Not the 21. These two that have the right angle are the legs. This one's the hypotenuse side. Don't make that mistake. That's your H. Opposite is the one opposite of the angle. So this is your O, and that's your adjacent. And they're asking us to find sine. So katoa. So S starts with S. So is your acronym that's going to help you. The S is for the function, which is sine of the angle is equal to, and the last two are for your numerator over denominator. Okay, once we got that correct, let's just put in the values here. O is 21. We got 21 over 7 root 10. Oh, we got this again happening. I have sine is equal to 21 over 7 root 10. Can't leave it like that. I know you want to fix this square root of 10, but wait. Remember, reduce these first. That can reduce. So really now you're looking at sine is equal to, well, 21 divided by 7 is just 3. 3 over 1 or just 3 over the square root of 10. 3 over the square root of 10. Now I got to fix this because you can't have a radical in the denominator. So how did we learn to fix this? We multiply by exactly what this is. So exactly by root 10, exactly by root 10, right? Why? Because the square root of 10 times the square root of 10 make a whole, give you the whole number. So your final answer is the square root of 10 times the square root of 10 is just 10. So that 10 gets in the bottom. And the top is just 3 root 10. Last one. Okay, pause it, copy the problem down. Okay, hopefully you copied it already. Here we go. Which one's the hypotenuse side? Well, this one. Label your 3 sides. Always, always, always label your 3 sides, or you're going to put one in the wrong place. That's H. This one is your O. And that's your adjacent side. All right, we're doing cosine. We got so, ka, toa. Which one's for cosine? Well, the one starts with a C. Ka. Ka. All right, the C is for the cosine part. That's your trig function. Cosine of the angle is equal to, and the last two are for the numerator and the denominator. That's it. Once we have this right and this right, put the numbers in the right place. Shouldn't be too bad. So that's 2 root 5. Oh, the square root is in the top. 2 root 5 over 6. Okay. Here it's okay, it's proper. It's okay if the square root's in the top, but still always look to reduce the numbers here before anything. Reduce. So even though we don't have to fix this, always look there to reduce. So our final ratio here for cosine is going to be what? Well, it's going to be 1 and 3. You don't have to put 1 root 5. You could just put the square root of 5 over 3. Okay. You only have to fix it when the radical is in the denominator. If it's in the numerator, it's okay. All right, good luck with this assignment.